Congratulations. I mean, I'm curious to know what the reaction was from the audience when you screened this at, the other festivals.
It was great, for a movie that came from kind of an outlandish premise that we had no idea what the response would be. It's been pretty phenomenal.
Did you, so people knew ahead of time what the film was about, right?
People who pay attention, I guess. I don't know.
Did you have people
Did
dress
people read
up?
descriptions?
Yeah.
We did. Yeah, we had people at our premiere all dressed up wearing like some of our costumes and whatnot. So yeah.
Well, that's really hardcore right there, right?
Yeah. We had some big people within the what they call the cosplay community, right? So like guys who have been doing it like professional. I think people got sponsors for that stuff. It's like being a NASCAR driver, but you like make costumes.
Yeah.
Those guys are intense.
So they're alerted whenever there's a film that's about their world. Really.
Yeah, no, but we hired them too. Like we were working. They were our people. We brought them on. We made the movie with them. We made the movie with the community. So it was very important to us to actually hire from within. So yeah. We some of them just like were on the radar because of the network. But a lot were people we actually hired.
So, I mean, you were telling me earlier that you grew up loving sci-fi and everything. So,
Sure.
what are your favorite memories growing up that perhaps you incorporated in the film?
It's just that feeling of like first freedom when you're like 10, 11 years old, and like my dad would drop me off at a Comic-Con with like $20 in my pocket and just let me wander and come pick me up like 8 hours later. And it was like that for me. It was like the first taste of like I can do anything within the confines of this small convention center and or hotel. And then that's kind of like how I discovered a lot of things that are like my interests to this very day. Was through those kind of like weird kind of solo walkabout experiences. That's how Americans do a walkabout. They get dropped off at Comic-Con. It's very different than what happens in Australia.
What are you talking about there?
You know about walkabout in Australia? No, in Australia it's like the thing they drop the kid in the desert and the kid has to become a man by crossing the desert.
Oh, okay.
It's a walkabout.
Cool.
There's a Nick Rogue movie called Walkabout. You gotta watch that movie. It's a good movie.
So tell me about the characters and how different they are, how they interact with each other.
As far as so we did a short film version of this, and there was like this one main character who was like it's kind of a sexually confused young man who's kind of using erotic fan fiction to kind of figure out his place in the world. But for the feature, because he was such a quiet little guy, I wanted to give him a foil. So we had Julia, the character Julia, who's like she's like the flip side of that coin, but she's a much bigger, more brazen version of that writer. So I feel like they kind of incorporate both my quiet side and I guess my more extroverted, that's the word I'm looking for. That's a word. Side. So yeah, and just working with great actors to portray those roles, it's just like they took a life of their own, and it's like that was the most rewarding experience of just working with my two film kids, my movie kids, Michael Johnson and Hannah Marks, who I could never have imagined we'd have two actors of that caliber.
So comic books are like accepted porn for young people, right? I mean, that's basically what it is.
Porn, because we use the Supreme Court definition of porn, like
erotica, I guess. Yeah. Like that's as close as they can get without having to,
As a former weekend day manager of Lone Star Comics here in Dallas, Texas, I will tell you we definitely kept the 18 plus away from the kids. So we tried our best.
Yeah.
We tried our best.
And were your actors? Were they comic book fans as well? Or?
No.
Really?
No, and they'd never been to a Comic-Con, so we took them to one. I actually made sure that was the very, very first thing we did was to take them to a Comic-Con so they have a chance to experience it. And they were like, they thought it was going to be this small little thing, and they were like, holy crap, this is huge.
Yeah.
And now they're both involved in what I guess you would consider to be nerd properties, because Michael is on Teen Wolf, he's a lead, and then Hannah Marks is on the BBC America, Dirk Gently's holistic detective agency. There's like Douglas Adams adaptation. Douglas Adams is one of my gods. Like that guy, it's like that's like they are like nerd royalty now.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but before this movie, that was like it's funny because I kind of for lack of a more elegant term, I popped their nerd cherries, and now they're now they're,
You have such a way with words.
yeah,
You're
a terrible way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.